I'm going to try my best today to educate you guys on everything about PEDs, in other words, performing enhancing drugs. Now, according to my Google form, most of you guys didn't know what a PED was, but I'm going to be asking you, or I'm going to be acting like you guys have zero idea. I'm going to be acting like you guys have zero prior knowledge and know nothing about it. So, I'm sure you guys have all seen on TV a superstar athlete getting caught for PEDs. Recent one may be Sha'Carri Richardson being caught for weed. Now you might be wondering what kind of fines they got, or why they got suspended, or the reason they got suspended. I picked 7 of the best articles, in my opinion, from extremely accomplished authors to bring you guys the best information possible and educate you guys on everything about performance enhancing drugs. Now, steroids is by far the most well-known PED. According to my Google form, every single one of you guys knew what a steroid was. Unless you're Mason. He listed plenty of PEDs, and he had a vast knowledge on it. Maybe kind of suspicious, but just kidding. Now, some effects of PEDs. First, athletes who use PEDs will experience an enhancement in muscle endurance, an enhancement in muscle vascularity, and in muscle mass. According to author Dunn Matthew, PEDs will increase testosterone. Testosterone is a primary sex hormone in men, which may sound a little bit funny, but sex hormones for men is extremely valuable for recovery and increased performance. Author Pete Harrison talks about the negative side effects, so I'm going to be moving on from positive to negative now. One example of a negative side effect will be severe acne. Mostly on your back is where you can tell if someone is using PEDs, or you can see that they have gynecomastia, which is developing, maybe a little bit funny, but male breast, where there's a little bit fat under your breast, and it looks like you have, quote unquote man tits. This is all due from the overload of hormones in a man. Injecting testosterone really throws off the hormones in your body. Another one is roid rage. Now, some of you guys may have heard of this. Some of you guys may have seen this. Some people think I have it because some people think I'm on roids, but the problem is I'm not. This is where you struggle to contain your emotions. This is where some things, people compare it to a bipolar disorder, where you can become very mad, very fast, in a very small thing. Another interesting risk that you guys may not know is the increased risk of getting a blood-transmitted disease. According to author Vivian, people who inject antibiotics are more likely to diseases such as hepatitis. So the reason they're more likely is because with steroids and other PEDs, they take less time to prep them, and that's what leads to people being less clean with them, and that's why people have a higher risk of blood-transmitted diseases. Now, another thing with that blood-transmitted diseases is with testosterone in men, it's obviously the primary sex hormone in men, so it drives a man's sex drive higher. And studies have shown men who inject testosterone are severely more likely to have unprotected devil's tango. Now that the effects I've mentioned, and where most of you guys have heard PEDs from, I'm going to now be talking about athletes and the consequences of using PEDs. Author Landy talks about a story about Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was an Olympic runner, and he won a gold medal. But Ben Johnson tested positive for the usage of PEDs. He was stripped of his gold medal, and Ben Johnson's reputation was frankly just completely ruined, which none of you guys may not even know him. He was a very accomplished runner, and he was stripped of all of his titles. But one thing Ben talks about is the social stigma of using PEDs. Ben talks about how the biggest risk to him wasn't being caught or wasn't his legacy. It was him telling his mom that he was using PEDs and the effect that she would have on him. Another one is arguably, in my opinion, the most well-known athlete who's been caught using PEDs, and he is Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds had arguably the most historic career in all of baseball, and he was a guaranteed Hall of Famer. Barry Bonds tested positive for steroid use, and in that time, it was very common. A lot of people were being caught during that time, and the MLB was under a microscope for the next couple decades due to their lack of steroid testing. The anti-doping agency decided to investigate the MLB, and they spent upwards of $9 to $6 million to avoid people getting caught with steroids. They made the fines very high to make it so people just wouldn't even want to risk it and be caught. After speaking about the effects, I'm going to be talking about the availability of steroids and other PEDs. Now, there are some websites that are normal. It's government agencies and other medical centers that provide performance-enhancing drugs for people who genuinely need them. Example being Mike Trout, who is the only professional athlete now that is allowed to use steroids for a condition he has in his knees. But a place that has a lot of PEDs is online chat groups such as Telegram and Reddit. These online chat groups provide links, and it's pretty much a black web for people to get performance-enhancing drugs. And that's where a lot of bodybuilders actually get their performance-enhancing drugs from. Now that I've tried my best to educate you, I hope you guys know all the effects, I hope you guys know all the consequences and the social stigma behind using drugs. Hope you guys all learned something today, and thank you for listening to my speech.